In this video, we're working on the CB750 and we're getting this engine unstuck, so stick around. Alright, you guys saw this thing, engine's locked up in it, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the spark plugs out and I'm going to go fill the cylinders with a little bit of Marvel's Mystery Oil. And we're going to give this thing some time, and hopefully within the next couple weeks I'll keep checking in on it. We will be able to rotate this thing over, unseize the engine, and see kind of what the condition feels like it's in. Now, when I bought this bike, it had been stored for who knows how many years with no spark plugs in it, so obviously the engine's going to be seized up. Now, it could be something simple, like it could just be a little bit of corrosion on the rings, and we might be able to get it freed up, but we don't know until we try. So the first thing I did before I power washed it was filling the cylinders with at least just some WD-40, because that was just easy to do right then. And then I just put some spark plugs back in it to hopefully keep it sealed. I didn't anticipate that doing anything for it other than helping to prevent any further corrosion. So what we're going to do, again, we're going to use a little turkey baster and a hose. We're going to force in some Marvel's Mystery Oil, let that sit and hopefully coat the cylinder walls and the piston rings and everything, and seep in and hopefully free this thing up. Alright, so it's been about 24 hours since we filled the cylinders with that Marvel's Mystery Oil, and I'm not expecting miracles, but because I'm impatient, I want to try to see if I can roll this thing over. So instead of like jumping up and down on the kickstart, which you don't want to do, I'm going to try to rotate it from a more direct path, and that's going to be off of the crankshaft. Now, this obviously is not the strongest point either, but I'm going to have more direct leverage on the crank itself. So hopefully we can make some progress here. I'm gonna grab a, I think that's like a 22 or something like that. All right, we got 24 on here. So there we go. I've got a tiny bit of movement in here. Alright, so I worked it back and forth a little bit. There's a tiny bit of movement. What I'm thinking is that's just the basically the rings getting tensioned within the grooves on the pistons. So I kind of left it, you know, there's like the max amount I could rotate it back and the max amount I could rotate it forward. I kind of left it in the middle to hopefully loosen things up, and if that, you know, hopefully that oil will just kind of work in there. Again, not expecting miracles on this, so just gonna leave it. Don't want to get too carried away. We'll let it sit more days, weeks, whatever, and we'll just keep trying. Hopefully, hopefully I don't just get carried away and crack this thing loose and not have the camera rolling. Don't really want to use this thing anymore. I know this is a weak point to rotate it by, but it's the most accessible for right now. Alright, so new development. I grabbed my newly acquired Borescope, which I've been using the heck out of, and I pulled the Marvel's Mystery Oil out of the cylinders. Now, I only got fluid out of number 1. 2, 3, and 4, there was nothing in. I couldn't draw anything out. If you look down here, I had a lot of fluid come out, and it ended up having kind of a reddish tint to it. So that means that all of the Marvels that I put in cylinders 2, 3, and 4 went past the rings, which is good, and then back down. Now, going in cylinders 2, 3, and 4, they all look super clean, which is awesome. But going into number 1, I'm going to try to make this as visible as possible. we get lucky here. I don't know if you can see right here. We've got rust on the outer edges. So I'm thinking all we need to do is kind of work just this one cylinder loose. So you can see I've pulled off the side cover, and there is evidence of it having corrosion in it. So I don't know what happened or just how many years it sat, sat open or exposed or whatever. But I'm thinking we might get lucky and just have to crack one loose, because like I said, 2, 3, and 4 look really good. So let's go ahead and put a wrench on this thing and start working it a little bit more than what I have been able to do with the other method. Alright, now I'm sure somebody's going to yell at me, but I got to do what I got to do. I've had this thing in 6th gear, and I've tried breaking it loose with the rear wheel, every week or so when I visit the bike. And then I've just used a little bit of pressure on the ignition side. You don't want to put too much on there because you can break the aluminum. That is for the timing, but I haven't actually pulled this cover off. I don't want to go crazy going in the forward direction because that'll just break the bolt loose. So I'm going to try to just go backwards with it and kind of see what happens. Bolt immediately loosened, removed. I don't want to break the bolt either. I did pull a CB350F from leaning against the barn. And in that instance, what I did is I put a breaker bar kind of within the rotor here, and I was able to crack that thing loose. So I'm probably just going to try the same thing real quick. Alright, this should do something. Let's see if I can come up with a better method. Just gonna try so I can get more of like rotational force here. She's tight. Yep, I think it was this cylinder right here. I'm gonna go take a peek at the other one. Granted, it means almost nothing at this point, but I can still see cross-hatching in the cylinders, which is interesting. I really think this thing was just parked and they were gonna change the bars or something. Took the plugs out and just kind of like forgot about the thing. So, I don't know, we're just gonna start rotating it over. Doesn't feel that great. I'm gonna go put some more penetrating oil in the middle cylinders. Alright, now before I start rolling this thing over more, I'm gonna go ahead and put just some oil in the oil tank. That way it can run into the oil pump. Just because, wouldn't hurt to pre-oil that. Check it out. How about that? We went from a seized engine to cracking it free, and now it rotates over really nice. Granted, with the corrosion that was on the rings in cylinders 1 and likely maybe a little bit in number 4, compression and ring seal are not going to be what they should be, but it might be a fun experiment to see if we can get this thing going and check and compare those cold compression numbers and ring seal and leak down and stuff like that now versus maybe, you know, again, if we get it running, maybe like 100 miles down the road or something, see if the rings kind of loosen up a little bit and we create a better seal. That'd be interesting to find out. Another interesting epic development with this bike is, if you're unaware, I bought this thing without title. Okay, I've been in touch with the owner and he found the title. So now the tables have turned on this thing. We went from a $100 barn find CB750 with a locked up engine and no title to, we got 120 bucks in it now. The engine is now free. There is potential for it to run at this point, and we have a title. So if y'all are unaware, I just picked up a CBX 1000. I'm starting a restoration on that. Kind of fell into my lap, so with me having that, this thing's kind of not exactly a high priority for me, but I do like the idea of getting this thing on the road. And if I do anything with it, it should be kind of later this year, if not early in spring or something like that of 2022. So we'll see. I'd like to keep this thing, but I'm also tempted to sell it. It is what it is, you know, but being that we unlock the engine, you know, move forward quite a few steps, and the incentive is now a little bit greater to just see if we can get this thing running. It'd be kind of fun. So right here, I'm going to link the first video for those who haven't seen it of picking up the bike and kind of see the backstory of the project here. And if you want, go ahead and check out some other stuff on the channel. I'd appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on social media, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.